You know there's no such thing as a godless society? Because even when we're far from God, God is near to us. That even when a society decides to remove God from it, God stays close, because everyone is one repentance away from redemption at all times. And so Paul chose a lens that said, I know what God's doing, even if I hate what I see you do. And he didn't focus on what he hated, he focused on what he knew. That the King of all kings, the God you worship unknowingly, is about to be introduced to you. And that's our calling, right? To make him known. And yet we have this tendency to believe that we need to make sure we tear down all the wrong stuff in people's lives so that they can be ready for Jesus, rather than recognize, let me just shine a light on the fact that Jesus is here and you don't know it. Because if I lift him up, what happens? He'll draw all men to himself. If I start shining a light on how Jesus is already working, then it may just allow you to let go of the stuff that doesn't work. And he's working in everyone's life. And so our calling as witnesses and as ambassadors is find the place where God's working in the lives of the people around you. Ask him for vision. Ask him for clarity. Be who you're called to be and believe God's at work. I just need to see him. We just need to look close. I'm going to start bringing this to a conclusion by telling you a story. PJ, who led in prayer at the end of worship tonight, shared this testimony this week that I think fits perfectly with where we are. He called and told me that at his former job, he worked with a group of Turkish Muslim women. And for those of you who know PJ, you know his character, and you know that he's always outgoing, always kind, always friendly. He has never met a person that he was not ready to talk to. And I say that positively. No matter what you say, Kai. He told me that at this particular job that some of the co-workers didn't treat this group of women very well, and so even more than usual, he went out of his way to be kind to them and to make sure that he looked out for them. In that friendship, he shared with them that he was a Christian. He told them about Jesus, and then he said he just had what were normal, friendly co-worker conversations. When it was time for him to move on from that job, those women asked PJ if he would take a picture with them so that they could remember their friendship. Now let's fast forward to PJ's new job. He was talking to one of his co-workers recently who happened to mention to him that he was from Turkey. So PJ, again being PJ, says to them, you know, I worked with a group of women from Turkey at my last job. Even have a picture of them. Pulls out his phone, shows the picture, and the co-worker says, that's so-and-so's wife. So-and-so just happens to be another co-worker there in that same place. They got connected, and the wife told her husband about what a good man PJ was and how good of a friend that he had been. So now the PJ and this man, this husband to the wife he was already friends with, are then sharing with each other and becoming friends. And so PJ told him about Jesus and told him he was a Christian. And just recently, this Muslim man from Turkey asked PJ if he could come to church with him sometime. Through this with me just a minute, and then I promise that we'll close. God so desires this man and this woman to know him that he sent PJ from job to job just so that each one of them could see a witness. Just so that each one of them could make a friend with someone who loves Jesus, so that each one of them could seek God for themselves and find out that God was always seeking them. And God brought a man and a woman from Turkey so that between Edgewater Park and Mount Laurel, they would both find out that there was a God in heaven, and his name is Jesus, and he desires them. Those are the lenses that we're called to have, but those are the steps that we're also supposed to take. Because that's how much God desires, not just this couple from Turkey, but it's how much he desires that everyone would be saved. We are God's provision for salvation in the lives of those who we live with, that we work with, and that we move around. God didn't only love the world enough to send Jesus, he loves the world enough to send us, to carry Jesus, to proclaim Jesus, to live for Jesus by living like Jesus.